Humanity won't always be like it is now. Nothing lasts forever, not even human stupidity. We've still got a long way to go along the evolutionary path. We'll definitely progress, eventually pushing ahead to something better. The next step forward in human evolution won't happen because of further natural selection, modified genetics, driven by survival of the fittest, like in the past. Instead, future major change will occur as a result of us becoming smarter. It'll be marked by the transition away from psychological immaturity towards the beginning of a mature way of being. Our current species classification of Homo sapiens translates from Latin as wise or clever man. We're certainly clever, at least at times, but to characterise us as wise is flattering and somewhat premature. We definitely do need to change. Just look at all of the problems, the countless dysfunction and suffering that we cause for ourselves, others, society and the world. We've got to do better, much better. If you recognise that change is needed, then the goal must be nothing less than self-transcendence. This is the realisation that you're one small part of a greater whole. We must get over ourselves. One thing has been holding humanity back for a long, long time. One fundamental blockage or basic problem. Everyone's conditioned into believing the illusion of separateness. This is most easily understood by common terms like me and me and mine. Don't get me wrong, I'm not questioning individuality, but I am pointing towards a higher reality of togetherness, unity, or greater connectedness. The dominant me mentality is perpetuated by psychological avoidance. It's a strategy of self-defense. Me first, me against you, us against them. This reliance on avoidance usually takes the form of making silly excuses, blaming someone or something else, minimisation, distraction, and so on. The aim of this avoidance is to reduce or stop emotional pain or disappointment, feeling bad about yourself. You turn away from reality whenever you don't like it, rather than learning from your mistakes and willingly facing all of reality. You pick the comfort of safety instead of a growth mindset. This dependence on avoidance results in people selling themselves short to one degree or another, arguing for their limitations, keeping their heads down, mistakenly thinking that it's easier to fit in and be accepted, instead of embracing struggle, striving to be the best you can be. The next evolutionary step forward will therefore be a deliberate, conscious choice. One by one, we'll choose a significantly better future. It'll be an individual decision to grow up, to be rational based on understanding and love, rather than continuing to live a life wallowing in the ups and downs of emotional dysfunction. This choice won't happen suddenly, overnight, but more as a series of insights that will grow and increasingly confirm the need to overcome all psychological limitations. Wisdom must arise from a firm foundation of precise knowledge and understanding, being capable the best you can be, fully tested and enduringly practical. Belief of any kind is not required. It's a matter of education, nothing more. To eliminate the inevitable contradictions of self-deception, the path to change has to necessarily include an anti-hypocrisy test. This is accomplished by embracing the applied wisdom of actions speak louder than words. Without this essential tool, people will continue to fool themselves, merely sticking to using clever words and intellectual ideas, avoiding whatever they don't want to face. If we think about the majority of civilizations that will surely be out there in the Milky Way and throughout the billions of other galaxies, they'll be far, far ahead of us, genuinely advanced. Our planet is relatively young compared with the rest of the universe. Life could have begun elsewhere millions or even billions of years before it got going here. So we'll likely be newcomers when viewed against the wider scheme of things. If some of these extraterrestrial life forms are aware of us, and they might be closely watching us, They'll undoubtedly see us as being immature and messed up. They certainly won't be stupid enough to land on the proverbial White House lawn anytime soon. You don't need to be a genius to realise that humans are presently stuck at a semi-primitive level of evolution. We're an emerging intelligent species, yes, but one that's nevertheless still backwards, contradictory and limited. We've yet to develop anywhere near our full potential. We'll need to grow up before we can be trusted to consistently act responsibly. That will amount to self-transcendence. Our self-centred, irrational, emotional behaviour has to be superseded with a greater caring for all, matched with a better understanding, bigger mindedness. It's up to us to take a long, hard look at ourselves, to honestly admit what's unworthy and unhelpful, then do everything necessary to bring about the required beneficial change. The concept of a fundamental shift in behaviour, personal development, isn't something new. Sincere individuals have been trying to change themselves going back several thousand years. However, and many people won't like my blunt honesty in saying this, to date there's been a long and dismal history of failure. Significant change simply hasn't happened. The same old self-orientated psychology remains entrenched, seemingly at the core of human nature. But just because the genuine route to change hasn't been clearly and fully understood, then followed, this doesn't mean to say there isn't a way forward. There is. To repeat, there needs to be exactness and practicality. The key to success is attitude, involving a dual framework approach. First, we've identified that capability is a consequence of 16 key factors. And capability, genuinely being the best you can be, is absolutely necessary. Any alternative fluffiness or talk about spirituality simply isn't anywhere near good enough. Equally essential, there must be a clear and detailed understanding of how the avoidance syndrome frustrates any and all attempts at change if left unchallenged. Excuses, the scapegoating of blame, minimisation, denial and distraction will definitely hold you back and keep you small if the problem of deflection continues to be ignored. Oneness experiences have provided rare glimpses of a much better way, suggestive of our future. They encompass an unparalleled love for all, together with an incredible understanding, going way beyond the usual self-obsession of me first. However, on their own, these profound insights haven't been sufficient to point out the precise way forward of how to progress. They're glimpses, nothing more. We've gone into more detail about oneness experiences in another film, and there'll be a link in the description box below if you want further details. If anyone thinks that significant change can be easily achieved, that it's a stroll in the park, think again. Your brain is already hardwired, and therefore a lot of continuous effort is required to change existing habits. You have to know what you're doing, and then never, never, never give up until you've achieved the goal. I've emphasised the demanding nature of this highest of high expectations in other films by referring to the title of the famous AC/DC song. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. By contrast, merely playing at changing is all too easy. There's safety in numbers because, sadly, it's the norm, with the blind leading the blind. You just fool yourself, believing in half-baked truisms and nonsense. But nothing worthwhile is actually achieved through messing around. Again, we've made a specific film about this obstacle, with a link in the description box below. It'll also appear for you to click on at the end of this film. We know the exact way forwards, which we've outlined in a series of 42 films titled Follow the Process. Once more, there'll be a link in the description box below for these. So it's definitely possible for humanity to further evolve. It's taken a lot of hard work for us to get to this point. We've spent the past 40 years or so working out the precise mechanisms for change, as well as what frustrates sincere attempts at change.
then vigorously testing it all in demanding practical situations. So we absolutely know that the process works, that it's real. Passing on this exact know-how to others hasn't been easy, not least because undoing or unlearning the accumulated psychological baggage is challenging. But we're doing it. There was nothing special about me when I got interested and wanted to know more. Yes, I had the spirit of an adventurer, one of our key factors, and I was searching for that something more. But I was also full of shit. Now, 20 years on, I'm the director of our work and head of training. If I can do it, anyone can, providing there's a genuine willingness to learn. We need additional pioneers to join our work to help demonstrate what can be done and prove beyond doubt what can be achieved. Role models are an essential part of the way forward. The social conditioning pressure of billions of people normalising the current me, me, me mentality makes fundamental change an almost impossible task. But a breakthrough can nevertheless be achieved. We've already started this long process of change. It inevitably has to be painfully slow to begin with, simply because of being up against a fixed mindset that's accepted by billions of people. Many might believe in a higher ideal, a better way, but they don't actually live it. And there's a massive difference between believing and knowing. At the moment, there's just a handful of us intent on achieving a breakthrough to the next step forward in human evolution. We're up against all of the normalisation of social conditioning. There's nothing glamorous in being a pioneer, a trailblazer. You constantly face misunderstanding and indifference. It's not that people don't want life to be better. They do. It's just that most want someone else to make the running, to do it first, preferring to keep their heads down and fit in. Many years ago, we coined the term the Roger Bannister effect to describe how it's imperative to demonstrate achievability, that an ideal is actually attainable, as different from something merely being possible. Roger Bannister was the first person to run the mile in under 4 minutes, when all the experts and almost every other athlete thought it was impossible, that the barrier of physical capability had already been reached. Once Roger showed it was achievable, others quickly followed, with some running even faster. We've made a specific film about this, and, yet again, there'll be a link in the description box below. The phenomenal benefits of self-transcendence can be summarised as much, much better psychological health. The current me, me, me mentality directly and indirectly causes immeasurable dysfunction and suffering on a personal level. And this individual impairment multiplies into the mother of all mess-ups for society. Limitations, contradictions and hypocrisy don't help anyone. So our world would literally be transformed by mass individual change. Progress will unfortunately continue to be slow until the process for change becomes blatantly obvious to a lot of people. At that point, realising the benefits are tremendous, any reservations will be dumped and practising a growth mindset will be seen as a thing to do. This shift in focus will prompt an exponential surge. Society will thereby experience a revolution, with many finally being willing to put in the necessary effort, and even the authorities will lend a hand, assisting with the much-needed education. The development and realisation of human potential provides practical deep meaning and purpose. The aim is simply to become fully alive. We don't do bullshit, hype or waffle. If I've got your interest, the next step, the next crucial step, is to follow up and find out more. Our YouTube channel has got a lot of films to help you get going on your journey. And if you want to join our team, I look forward to hearing from you.